All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. And we are back. We are back with another fantasy fishing episode. It's been like, I don't know, it feels like 3
Forever.
months, even though it's only been probably a couple weeks.
Elite Series, please stop scheduling your tournaments so close and so far apart. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, let's do
It's making our fantasy
back-to-back.
fishing schedule like, come on, give the people what they want. No, I was kidding.
let's do back-to-back and then take a 6-week hiatus and do back-to-back and end the season. Like, who does this scheduling? I just want to know. Like
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Deacon actually did a episode on that with Mr. Eric Lopez from Bassmaster.
Yeah. And I mean, I get why they do it, but why do they do it? Like,
right.
You get 8 or 9 tournaments a year, and then let's throw back to back to end the year, and then the season's done until January next year. It just drives me nuts. Like every couple weeks would be fine. Like, let's throw a tournament every 3 weeks, have them traveling. But I understand like the schematics of it. Like, we can do back to backs and give them 4 weeks to go home with the family, then do back to back. But from a viewership standpoint, it drives me nuts.
I get why, but why? People agree with you in here.
Yeah. I love it.
Captain Knowledge is in the building. I love it. We got a bunch of people rolling in. We got our usuals that are here just about every episode. We appreciate you all. As always, a little bit delayed here, but as always, I'm your host, Bailey Eggbret, and with me is the captain, Mr. Andy Full tonight. We are hashtag Bartless, as people love to comment just about every single episode.
Hashtag less Bart.
Yeah, I think because I think Bart has made 1 episode this year.
And funny story, he said he would be here, but he chose the bar over us.
I brought the bar to the episode.
Yes.
Pinkies out, boys.
laid back atmosphere today here on the Fantasy Fishing Show. Love it.
No, it is. The unfortunate part is we don't have Deacon tonight because Deacon is traveling. He's been hunting. He's been working a bunch. He's been gone. And it's unfortunate because I don't have somebody to argue with tonight. And usually it's Deacon. We usually have a nice go at it sesh, but he'll be back. He'll be back eventually. It's just one night, and he'll be back for the Mississippi River show next week. But obviously this week we're going to be previewing Lake Oahe, which I am very excited to dig into. Which a couple quick things actually before we start diving into St. Lawrence River, kind of doing the tally that we have for our little game going on. Really fast, for those that are going to be watching Lake Oahe, I highly encourage you, if you want to, on Thursday at 11 a.m., I'm going to be guest hosting on the Omnia Fishing, where they do the simultaneous broadcast of the Bassmaster live event. I will be on there as a guest host for an hour. So Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Omnia Fishing, head over there and talk some bass fishing. Bring your friends. And if you guys see anything juicy on that website, we have discount codes below where you can save yourself some money on a tackle order. But that's going to be pretty sick. And Andy, one quick thing that I wanted to bring up that I thought was sick. I don't know if you saw it in New York. So the state record was broken.
And then
a month ago,
a kid caught the same fish that was
the
8
same
pounds.
Damn fish was caught again. And there's like picture proof. The guys talked to the guys that actually broke it and like traded pictures and compared it. The fish that broke the state record in New York was caught again. It was like 7 pounds, 10 ounces or something like that. Dude, that's sick. And if MLF hasn't done it already, that place is going to be murdered. And I feel so bad for that lake because it's going to get blasted.
Yeah, it's
putting out like nobody's business.
Yeah, but like in the turnaround of things, right? It seems like every lake in New York this year has put out just absolutely insane bags. I don't know what's up with like the air in New York, or if we're about to hit like a giant collapse in the next like 2 to 3 years, but literally every lake besides a couple are fishing out of their minds. But Jim's got a funny comment here, just like barbless hooks. Oh yeah, that's great. Bass pack. I hope he does. His eye. Whoo, ouch.
Yeah, I don't know if people heard that, but Clark Wendlandt is out for the rest of the season with an eye injury. That's big time. Like, I mean, stuff that comes with your eyesight is way bigger than fishing. So
yes,
hopefully he can recover just fine. Let's see. What Just like barbless hooks work for conservation, Bartless shows work for St. Louis.
Love it.
Ouch.
Love it. Yes.
Which actually, update, Bart will be on in 5 to 10 minutes. So we are hashtag Bart.
More Bart, I guess.
We are more Bart.
Yeah.
Bart full tonight.
Bart full.
Bart full.
Yeah.
We have a request from Bass Pack starting from bucket E to A tonight.
Would anyone else like us to do it that way? Might get confusing for me and Bailey since we're simpletons with our brains, but
we'll get freaky.
Yeah, we can get freaky. Would anybody else like us to get freaky? Like, throw it in the comments.
That was a really bad question, Andy. Probably should stray from asking people
that. Yeah. Don't take it to context, all right? Eat it.
If anyone's listening to this on speaker, I apologize if anyone else is in the room. Gosh. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Well, let's start digging into this a little bit because I don't have any, unless you have any more news for the folks.
No, let's dive into the 2 century belts at the St. Lawrence that I'll admit I said wouldn't happen, but who knew we would get 4 perfect weather days in a row.
That was the most surprising part.
Yeah,
that was kind of well. Which, by the way, you did call the full moon. Not that there's going to be a full moon, because obviously it's easy to predict, but how it affected the fishing.
Yeah, they were all most of the guys who wild them caught them shallow, which was incredible.
Dude, it was a hair jig fest.
Yeah,
that's basically what it was. Hair jig, and I mean, people obviously scoping, but
yeah.
Beyond that, real quick, we got David Jong in the chat here. David is over at Angler's Channel. If you guys don't keep up with Angler's Channel, I highly recommend it. Pretty sweet outlet in the fishing industry.
And David, we all want to be like Bailey.
No, you don't.
Wins
don't.
Every kayak tournament in New York, travels top 20s all the time. Guy is killing it in 2022.
Okay, we're going to start talking about St. Lawrence River here.
I want to be Bailey.
Good gosh. All right, well, I'll kick it off because I had a miserable tournament, my worst tournament of the year. Actually, I think it was my worst tournament of the year. I'll have to go back and check. It's pretty damn close, if not. My picks, I felt really confident about that event and had BP, who was started out as BP in 6th place, but then dropped to 25th, and then had Takuito, went from 26th to 13th. Josh Douglas, who finished in 52nd, which was actually kind of surprised me. And then, of course, unfortunately, Jonathan Kelly did not have his Bassmaster Open showing and finished in 78th. And then Justin Atkins, my 5th tournament after picking him this year, paid off for me, and he finished in 15th place.
Nice.
So I rounded up to 1,010 points.
Whoo, you barely got me, bud. Barely got me.
At least I'm not last. Well, actually, quick update for the folks. So the current scoring is Andy and I tied. Bart at 19, 1 point above us. So Andy and I are tied at 18, and Deacon's at 15. So Deacon is still winning by 3 points.
Oh gosh, I might be in last after this tournament. I might be getting the special surprise. So I might
actually be getting freaky.
Yeah, I got Chris Johnston with 6, Taku Ito with 13th, Josh Douglas 52nd, Bernie Schultz. Bailey called it, said would have his worst tournament ever at the St. Lawrence with a 46th, and Daisuke Aoki, who came in 83rd, which I was widely surprised about. He was the one who hurt me pretty bad, and I finished with 990. Yikes. Oof. Yeah, that was my worst. That was probably my worst tournament I've had in a while, because I've been stringing off some real good ones and then bombed.
How does the smallmouth guru not call the smallmouth tournament?
I don't know. I picked some pretty dependable guys here, and Group E for me just wasn't good because I didn't trust Justin Atkins. So should have just taken Justin Atkins.
We'll show him that clip when we get him on the show here soon. He's coming on here shortly.
I said I didn't trust him. That I should have picked him. Right. Yeah, that'd give me some good clout, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So for folks coming up on the show, actually, Justin Atkins is going to be joining us here the next couple of weeks, and this Friday show will be Mr. Ben Milken coming back on the show, which that's going to be a lot of fun. So all right, you're currently in last. I am currently 1 place in front of you, and we have Mr. Adam Bartuzik, who'll be hopefully joining us here in a second, coming in at 1,071 points.
Oh, so Deacon got him, I think.
So Deacon got him because Deacon, let me pull up his text here, came in at 1,197. So Deacon wins another week. Oh, holy crap. He's alive. He exists.
More
the
Bart.
legend himself.
Yeah, I am
We're
here.
saying
I'm back after
a
4-month fiasco.
Yeah,
Something like
hiatus.
Yeah, I am here.
From
Love
being here in spirit, but now we said it's a Bart fold night, not a Bartless night.
Yeah,
So
no, like applause is in the chat, everything. I would like beers. Everybody clank beers. Here we go. I'm back. I made it. Here we go.
I think they're saying Bart Chug.
Bart
Yeah,
Chug.
what's the
We got Bart.
Yeah, all
We
right,
just rolled
cool. Yeah,
through.
we can do that. All right, here we go. So what's our places at? I heard you were giving points updates. I want to know where I'm at.
Yeah. So here's the update here. Okay. So you got second in this one, the St. Lawrence River. Andy and I had shitty tournaments.
I told Andy I thought I did well. He was like, I was talking to him earlier. He was like, I think he's in last, or you're in last. And I'm like, I had a really good St. Lawrence River event. I don't think I could be last.
So going into St. Lawrence, you were in last place. So
okay.
So
It's very close.
Deacon has 16 points now after his win this week. Bart, you have 21.
Ooh.
Andy, you have 22. And I have 21. So Bart and I are tied for second/third.
So it's very hard to catch Deacon right now, basically.
Basically, Deacon has to get last.
We're fighting for who has to fish with the dick lure, right?
Yeah, which now everyone knows that's the punishment. No one knew that.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad.
All right.
Get back on the live stream and I screw it up. And
see you later, Bart.
Bart's out of jail. No, he's back in jail now.
Whoops.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Fantasy fishing is back. That's hilarious.
Yes. Thank goodness.
Oh, God. That's amazing. All right. So, yeah, pretty much Deacon needs to bomb out. So I think what we need to do is pull up some money here and, persuade Ronnie Moore to change his picks the night before. Go in the system and mess with some stuff.
I know a guy.
But, yeah, I think Deacon's going to ride this one safe, I think, for the rest of the year. Probably wise. And he probably has it locked up, but things happen. Things can happen. Things can get freaky. That's why I think I went completely opposite of his picks here to even have a chance to try to get different points than him. But
I'm still just trying to make sure I don't get last.
Yeah, I like ahead of time we knew his picks, and I switched a few just to get away from the same picks.
Did you guys go through your St. Lawrence picks, or are we not doing that anymore?
We did already.
We quickly just breezed through them because people are here to talk about Lake Oahe.
All right,
and that's what I think. Do you have any experience on Oahe? I know Deacon has fished it once or twice.
I don't have any experience there, but I know fair enough about the place from talking to walleye guys and guys who smallmouth fish it to have a general idea of what's going to go on. But
I gotcha.
They're probably going to be fishing like deep ledges, not deep ledges, but they're going to set up kind of like ledges, just graphing looking.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you guys didn't know about Oahe, so Oahe's a smelt lake. So I don't know if you guys have smelt by you. Smelt are like, they're like alewives. They're just little, I don't know, 5-6 inch minnows. And smelt swim everywhere. And since it's a smelt lake, they could catch them in 150. They could catch them in 5 feet. Like it really just depends what the smelt's doing. If they're on smelt and not on crayfish, stuff like that. And generally with those big smelt lakes, like especially on a lake that's not pressured, you can find monster schools. So it should be really cool. I think it's going to be a really good event. The one thing I did look at, I don't know if you guys took this into account with your picks. I did. It is going to gas on Thursday and Friday. Like there's a chance they might have a wind day. It's going to be blowing hard on
fun.
Yeah, I see
hard.
north,
out of
northwest
the north too, which like that's what sinks ships out there.
Yeah, I see Thursday is going to be north at 15 to 25 miles an hour, which that lake runs north to south, if anybody doesn't know. Friday
that place gets mean, man. Like that place is probably, I've heard from guys say it's worse than the Great Lakes because it's long and narrow and there's nothing blocking the wind.
Shoots down the pipe, basically.
Yeah, so the wind's like with the Great Lakes, you can ride them, right? They're these big rollers, you can do your thing. Well, they're just gonna kill you. Like
it's like a Kentucky Lake setup.
Yeah, exactly. It just goes right down the funnel and crushes you.
Well, Friday says northeast 15 to 25 with 20-mile-an-hour sustained, which is
like I said, they might have a wind day.
Yeah, it dies to 5 to 10 on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
brutal. So I mean, you might see a northern advantage as guys that are better in big water.
Yeah, for sure. Let's be guys who just know that they have to deal with it.
Yeah.
We got our buddy Donald back from Scotland on another episode. What's going on, Donald? I sense some sarcasm in that. Do you have something against Scotland?
Oh no, it's great. Sorry, I was just looking to the side. The guys are chilling outside, so.
Oh man,
B-Rock saying some things.
That's right.
Yeah. They're pissed we're not getting dinner right now. I just sat at a 2-hour-long Bass Nation state meeting, and they're like, "I want dinner." I'm like, "I gotta hop on this so I can show my face."
So you can show your face. Well, dude, if you do actually need to go get dinner.
No, we're good. We'll go get dinner. It's been fine. It's been a while. I like so we can talk about this real quick too. This team SLFL fishing. Wind's going to be tough. Water being low be a problem. So I think with smallmouth, I don't think low water matters really that much. Like with a lot of these northern fisheries, because like where they live is an area where water level will not affect them. Like they smallmouth are very instinctual and they move enough that like it's not going to make it hard. Honestly, I think low water can make it even better because it just congregates them more. There's less water for them to get away from you. And they're going to go right to the bait. And if the bait can't hide, there's less area for it to go to. You get more big schools.
I completely agree with that. It can make for better fishing, but also with that water being lower can make for more dangerous fishing, especially with the winds being the way they are. It can make things pretty damn interesting. David, we're going to get to weight for this tournament at the end. And actually, Bart, what we're going to do, the folks asked us to go start at bucket E and go up to bucket A. So
yeah, sure. We can do that
tonight. But yeah, so weather-wise, that's going to be brutal. It'll be interesting to see. I would say they probably would. I would agree that they might even have 2 wind days, depending on how bad that first day is.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to push it back or just cancel it, or because it's a back-to-back. I don't know what they're going to do, but like, dude, like people are like, "Oh, send them out, do whatever." Like, guys, 20 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds on OAHE. Like that lake extends half of the Dakotas. Like we're talking hundreds of miles long. Like people die there in walleye boats. So it's going to be gnarly. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. It's going to be a very interesting tournament to watch. So stay tuned. Obviously it's going to be kind of rowdy. I think it's going to be better. We're going to see bigger weights. Obviously than 2018. Not because I think like fishing's changed. I don't have that knowledge to say if the fishing's better or not. Because I didn't know the fishery in 2018 and I don't know it now. But I will say because of the advancements in fishing electronics and how good guys are with them, I think you're going to see bigger bags because of that. Not drastically, but I think you'll see
from knowing the fishery and stuff. What I would say is you're going to see bigger bags for several reasons. Number one, they're taking out of the middle of the lake, not Pierre, so they can get to where a lot of the best smallmouth water is without burning a full case of tank of gas. Number two, the fishing has gotten better. The average out there is really good now. There's big fish, and like Troy caught the state record out there last year.
7.4, right?
Yeah, 7.4, maybe 7.5.
Yeah, we got Team Bass Pack in the chat saying it was 7.4.
Yep. So he just got the state record out there. There's definitely more of them. And the other thing about there too is people need to remember the last time they were at OAHE was the end of June. And as you guys know, a smallmouth, that's like immediate post spawn, which they're very scattered. They're hard to find. They weigh nothing. Like the weights were low. We're here at the end of August. Like this is when those fish like feed bags are getting on, and they're going to be heavy and they're going to be big.
Yeah, here's a quick hit thing here from Dylan. Did you guys see Livesey's post today for the walleye?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It blew its air bladder out.
Yeah.
13 pounds.
That is one thing that I think he's just met. Well, I think he probably was being honest that he caught it that deep, but I think one thing to remember is that he might be kind of playing a little card against the rest of the crew.
Yeah,
because like, it's dangerous to try and keep smallmouth from that deep of water.
Well, so with smelt fish, this is from my experience fishing smelt fish, like
up
the Kagama and northern stuff. They live above the
thermocline. Yeah,
like they're in 10 feet, but they're over 150 because the smelt don't go deeper. So you're going to be doing that, but he probably's out there and sees a giant mark and he's like, "What's that?" Drops down to it, boom, 14-pound walleye. Like that's a
dinner.
Yeah, I'm curious if he kept that thing or not.
Just I mean, he should have. It was dead the moment it got
that's what I'm saying.
If he would have opened its mouth, there was a balloon on the inside of it. You could have seen.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks looking walleye. That's
pretty
good.
much.
Yeah.
On that being said, because I like that comment, guys, tonight we're giving away a bunch of prizes. We got Hobie Eyewear shades we're giving away. We got a Queen Tackle gift card, Omnia Fishing gift card. Which, by the way, we're 2 tournaments away from crowning somebody with a $250 Omnia Fishing gift card for the overall winner for our fantasy fishing group. And then as well as some Humminbird and Minn Kota merch we're giving away tonight. So make sure you're putting in your predictions, some hot takes, conversation starters, all that jazz, and we'll be picking 4 winners to win all that stuff tonight. So, boys, do we want to start getting into this jazz?
Yeah, sure. Let's dive
into our Bucket E picks. All right. Even though he's not here, he did win last week, so we'll give him the honors of going first, but we're just not going to have our long-winded Deacon explanation, and I don't have anybody to argue with tonight, unfortunately. So, Bart, maybe I'll argue with you a little bit.
That's what I'm here for.
So, Deacon, his pick for Bucket E, he's going with his pal, Mr. Alex Redwine, who had a great tournament at St. Lawrence River, and I would imagine he's going with Redwine for the pure fact that Redwine is really good at smallmouth, but I don't think I want Redwine to do well because we like Redwine. He's been on the show a bunch, but I think it's a completely different fishery that sets up than a Lake Erie.
Yeah,
so he might struggle.
And I don't know how good he is with forward-facing sonar. All those guys are good with it, but when you're chasing suspended fish, it's an entirely different technique, and Bart can get into that even more because he knows.
Well, so the funny thing here is, and it's going to lead to one of my other picks, but I picked Redwine. And I picked Redwine. One, he's good with smallmouth. And if you're good with smallmouth, you can figure him out everywhere. That's kind of, I think that's north of the Mason-Dixon line, not talking Pickwick, stuff like that. Like if you're good at northern smallmouth and that's what you do, you can figure him out anywhere.
You think some spotted bass guys will do well here?
They could, yeah. I think some spotted bass guys could definitely do well here. But I think what helps Redwine, honestly, more than anything is who he's rooming with.
Yeah, Shakira.
Yeah, like I told you guys at the beginning of the year in the preview, I didn't know Jay was going to win the St. Lawrence. I figured he'd do well there, and we'll dive into that pick when I get there. But I figured this event was going to be Jay Shakira's come-out party. So him rooming with Alex, him and Alex work together. Alex is a good smallmouth fisherman. I don't feel really good about the other guys in that bucket on big water out there. Alex is young. He'll go out there and
young and dumb.
Pardon my French, get the shit kicked out of him for a day.
My kidneys hurt.
That. He has no problem with that. So that's why I picked Alex. It is definitely different than Erie, but
right,
it's still smallmouth.
I like that perspective.
Go catch them.
So different from Redwine, the guy that I went with is the complete opposite in terms of where he is at in his career. Mike is much older. Mr. Iaconelli has been there before, not that specific part of the lake, but he has some experience in terms of how, to an extent, how that lake sets up. And while he's not having the greatest season, the one thing that Mike does very well is when everyone's on a clean slate. Granted, some guys did pre-practice this place last year. He does very well when it's a new fishery and everyone's relatively on the same grounds. Not saying he's going to go out and win the thing, but to have a good finish and have as hard as this bucket is, I think I could be a very solid pick in terms of being able to ground out a solid finish.
Yeah.
So it's hard to bank on Ike. Typically, any other season, Ike is your guaranteed top 30. But this one, I'm going to take Ike and bucket E.
I like
Andy?
it.
Yeah, I was on the red wine Ike train, and because Deacon, we got to catch Deacon here, I went with Bailey's pick on Ike because I'm like, I need points. So even if they finish close or somebody catches a bigger fish or 1 or 2 points higher, like I just need more points. So I'm going Iaconelli, and he always just seems to catch them on tough, weird fisheries that nobody else has been to. So it's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat saying Justin Hamner potentially.
I don't like.
I'm not sure I agree with the pick. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done. Yeah, I can't really make any case for Justin Hamner. As much as we'd like to see Justin Hamner do well, I think the only person you could, I think one person you could potentially give a very similar to red wine is a Jonathan Kelly, but for smallmouth, I think I would take red wine over Kelly in this one.
Out of anyone I would give a shot, it would be Daisuke.
I could see that as well.
That's about it.
But he absolutely bombed at the St. Lawrence.
Yeah, but I also know that a lot of people haven't been to OAHE, and a lot of those guys spent a lot of time out there. That whole crew, once it got announced, they went out there for a while. So I could see that, but no, I definitely think red wine or Iaconelli is kind of your two picks in that pool, in my opinion.
Agreed. All right. Bucket D. We have Deacon starting us off with a guy that did okay. They're back in 2018, so he has a little bit of experience there, and that is Mr. Paul Mueller. Kind of having a tough season, but a guy that is very good for facing sonar. Is very good with crappie, so he's not afraid to chase suspended fish. I think it's a good pick if he can figure out his groove. Bart, I'm gonna assume you had a very similar pick.
I went Mueller. The lakes he fishes, it's the same type of thing. Suspended bait, you're chasing them in the waves. We've seen Mueller out on Ontario, not caring about the waves. Like, he's gonna be fine there. It's a forward-facing sonar event for the most part. Like, and also with that though is dropping on them. Like, it's an electronics event. These fish are pretty dumb. You should be able to catch them kind of any way you want, and he's a good smallmouth angler, and he's just good at catching them. So Mueller's had a really bad year, but when you get up north, like, you can basically wipe that slate and be like, well, he's fishing his stuff now. Like, I don't see him having a bad event here.
Yeah.
And I know it's high percentage, but like there's no one in that bucket. I'm like, oh, I'll pick you instead. Like, there's just really no one there that I feel good about on that body of water. Because the other thing is, like, I saw a question, I can't remember who said it, but someone asked if we'll see a largemouth. You're not going to see a largemouth. I don't even know if there is largemouth in OAHE. Like,
I believe there's some, but
there's some, but they're not big. Like, there's no grass in South and North Dakota. Like, there is not. There's some ponds that have some giant Larrys in them, but for the most part, the major lakes, like Devil's Lake, where I think you went ice fishing there, Bailey. There's no largemouth in there. There's none. There's not one.
Yeah, I don't think there's bass in general.
Yeah, no, there's none. So that's kind of a thing out there. So there's no one really to bail you out. You kind of just got to go with this.
Gotcha.
So as much as it was hard to not pick Mueller for the exact reasons you just said, there's a guy who I have had unapologetic unsupported confidence in this year and has burned me most of the time. But on St. Lawrence, paid off. Bart said goodbye.
He said peace.
And a guy that needs this thing, a guy who has his back against the wall, a guy that needs to keep his dream alive, a guy that I've been on the water with recently and watching him absolutely smoke smallmouth, scoping them and do it really well. And a guy that I don't think is afraid of big water. And I'm going with Justin Atkins because I know, Andy, you're shaking your head because I pick Atkins like basically every other tournament this year.
You love Justin Atkins, man.
I know. I know.
You guys make a lot of fun of me about my Minnesota picks. You pick Atkins way more.
Yours is like across A through E, the whole damn state you're picking.
Hey,
I'm just picking one guy.
We're getting to your Minnesota picks, all right?
Yeah, we're
getting there.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to defend myself.
And I'm going back to like the same thing. I can't pick the same pick as Deacon, so I guess me and Bailey are going to have the same lineup. So I took Atkins as well, just because I heard how he can fish with forward-facing sonar, and quite frankly, he just needs it. He needs another big finish to survive. So
he's like right on the border. We tallied it up the other day, and like if they take, if they're taking 20 or something like that, like he's like right there, right on the good side. But like I think
talking about Atkins.
Yeah. Any slip, he's done. So you're gonna see him bring it. So
I think he'll catch him here. I just don't think he's gonna catch him as good as Mueller. But the thing is, what he does at Pickwick will translate here because they're unpressured.
Yeah.
So he can literally throw a spinnerbait all day on windy points. Like he can go throw a swim bait on windy points. He can go do that, and he will catch them.
And because they're eating 6 to 8 inch shad,
yeah, they're eating big smell. Like they chase big bait.
I think he does well. Yeah. I mean, but this is my completely biased confidence in a guy that hasn't supported me much from fantasy fishing this year.
7 out of 8
I would like to have Justin on as a guest at some point for one of these fantasy fishings when you pick him, and we can look at him and be like, would you like to know how much blind faith Bailey has had?
Drum roll.
Oh, it's a sight fishing event? Justin Atkins. Oh, he can throw a buzzbait? Justin Atkins. Oh, we're on the TVA? Justin Atkins. You did well there, Justin Atkins.
Here's the funny part is he knows I picked him. Because we were at Champlain and he like on his boat joking, he goes, "You gotta stop picking me for fantasy fishing, man."
Why don't you listen to him?
I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, no offense to the guy, but he's usually in bucket E or D this past year. And it's like out of this bucket, who could do well? And like he is not a bucket D or E angler. He is a straight up bucket A or B. Yeah. And he's just not fishing like Atkins the past 2 years. So there's some terms that show out, but like I don't know. I think it's something with the groove, man. I can't know. And I hope we can bring that out, and we have our episode with him coming up in a couple weeks. But it's one, man. It's just hard not to pick him for me. Like when I see it, I'm like, this makes sense because he is obviously his home is Pickwick. He's done really well in the north, but like he's also a damn good sight fisherman when it comes to spawning largemouth. Like there's back in the day or back at when he was on the BPT that he went head to head with John Cox on Lake Fork. Like, he knows how to do it. It's just, who knows what the situation is, but yeah, I said, unapologetic
off of what the fish eat there. I think that's a good pick. Just a risk with Kennedy, like we've talked about for 2 years. Shows up, doesn't show up. You never know. You literally never have any idea.
I think no offense to Mark, but the 0.8% that picked Mark Menendez, there ain't no shot that dude is leaving a harbor with the way his back is this year.
Yeah,
he ain't risking it going out in that water.
Pick Menendez. It's just like literally that's like one of the things in fishing where like we don't talk about like physically who can do it and demanding, but like that's a point of like, dude, he can't go out there. Those waves are going to be enormous. Like it's going to suck.
Yeah, that is going to be
interesting live coverage.
Yeah, it will, and the service is pretty sketchy out there. So I don't know what we're actually going to see. We could see even better stuff after the event, to be honest.
Like just from GoPro stuff, you mean?
Yeah, and like Bass still recording, but like they can't put it out live because there's no cell service. Dude, they're in the middle of a prairie. There ain't a tree out there. Like they're in the middle of nowhere. Gussie's posting pictures of bison today. Like they're in a different world. Like everyone says it's like the surface of the moon. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I saw on Alex Redwine's story today. It was so stupid, but it made me laugh. It was like a dad joke. He posted a picture of the buffalo. He goes, "My favorite sauce."
I actually replied to him and I said, "That's not like what we call it here in Buffalo." I was like, "It's called hot sauce in Buffalo, not buffalo sauce." And he just started laughing.
I love
That
it.
is, it was just like a dad joke. It was hilarious. All right, here we go. Here's a question. Bart, being that the bait is 6 to 8 inches that they're chasing, are we going to see a glide bait play at all?
So I don't think he'll catch him on a glide bait, but like I know, like I mean, Andy, you might even do this for derbies. I know one of Hayden's like big deals in practice of some of our smallies derbies. Use a glide bait to find them because smallies are curious, man. They won't eat it, but they'll chase it all the way to the boat. Basically, the only time I think you catch smallmouth on baits that big is pre-spawn, and or late fall when they're chasing Cisco. But middle of the summer, like they're still eating bait that big, but I don't know. It's just there's better ways to catch them.
Well, and the issue too is like what we don't talk about.
It's like this tall.
Yeah, a smelt might be 8 inches long, but it's literally like a ribbon.
Yeah, like if Bailey could show a picture of one, if you Googled it, because a lot of people down south probably aren't familiar with smelt. There is a lot of lake herring there too, but any smelt factory, they're going to chase smelt.
They're like this long, about
they're super long, and their
eyes
like,
are like
honestly, they're like the profile of a worm.
Yeah,
like the worm you throw on a drop shot.
They're like
that's
dart.
Basically the profile. It's long and slender.
And these big moon eyes on them, like the mice, and they got these wicked teeth for a minnow. They're wild fish.
Yeah,
they're wild looking, and they taste good too if you fry them.
Yep. Yeah. Smelt.
Super skinny. Like here's probably a good one here.
Yep. Smelt.
There's your 7.5 inch smelt, rainbow smelt.
Yep.
They could easily fit in a smallmouth's mouth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Picks here in a bit. Are we on bucket C now? Or are we rolling?
Yeah, we're on bucket C, but I think really, really fast. Like I could definitely see Zaldane throwing like a 6-inch mag draft with a stinger, something along those lines. It could play.
I don't think they'll eat it.
Yeah. So somebody asked prior in the chat, and I replied to them in the YouTube chat asking if the big baits will play. And I think there's opportunity. I just don't think it's efficient.
Here's a bait that could play here if they could throw it, and it would be an awesome event for it. It would be a rig.
Oh God. Yeah.
But like it would be situational. Like, are you on a windy point? Like, what are you doing?
Because what about hollow bellies?
Yeah, I mean maybe, but it's probably going to be like a 3.8 Kayak or 4.3 Kayak. But not like the fat body. You're going to be talking about the easy shiner, the long and narrow one, like profile. Like they're all about profile on those lakes. It's very big. Well,
this question, Dylan here started a pretty good conversation. So Dylan, you won yourself a $25 Omnia Fishing gift card. Dylan, Get in touch with us, whether it's social or send us an email, and we'll get you that code sent out to you. Congrats on the Omnia Fishing gift card. Guys, we still have Hobie Eyewear Shades, Queen Tackle gift card, and Humminbird Minn Kota swag to give out. So keep these comments pumping. It's been a good night for engagement. We appreciate you guys tuning in here.
Oh, and I want to touch on one thing, Bailey. I keep seeing people commenting Carolina rig. No. These fish look up. They don't care about anything on the bottom. You're not going to see I could be totally wrong, but I would be really surprised if you see, like, you might get one or two on a tube, but that's because a tube falls like this. Like, other than that, I don't think a Carolina rig, football jig, anything like that's really going to play. These fish look up. Like, Andy, you know, on Erie, like, the first thing you do when you go out in the morning is you figure out, are the smallies looking up or are they looking down?
Yeah, and you can tell right on your electronics what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll see, like Bart mentioned, you'll have the small swim bait. You'll have top water, I think, could play. I think you'll have spinner bait. I think you'll have guys out deep throwing like a Demiki that are, especially if they're scoping these fish.
That's how that's how I think it'll get won. But
yeah. Like moping or just like targeting specific fish?
We'll get to one of my picks soon. But
okay, I see.
I think a black hair jig will be really good too. Like a black hair jig is going to be good. And
what about like a white hair jig?
You guys want to talk about a cool bite that we could see? Because normally up in the Midwest, the wind is dead in the morning and then it just builds. You guys could see some really cool topwater blowups in the morning.
Like smallmouth don't eat topwater.
Like 70 feet of water throwing a spook.
Yeah, like 70 feet of water chucking a spook, and that spook gets sent 5 feet in the air because he missed.
I think you'll see more like yeah. I think the guys that throw the spook will have the best TV, but the guys that throw like the chapos and the ploppers will have the best bites.
I don't think they'll catch them though, because I've tried it and they won't eat it.
They just like knock the shit out of it.
They want it going.
Huh.
Like a Berkeley sexy dog, right? That's Berkeley.
That is Strike King, my friend.
Strike King, whatever.
We can go with that. Keep going, Berkeley.
Like a sexy dog's a really good one. That one will get bit a lot. An evergreen shower blow. That'll get bit a lot. Spook.
Definitely see the shower blow.
Hey, Forrest.
I didn't even think about a pencil popper over a spook. Those smallmouth probably don't see it that much.
Well, you can keep it in one spot. That's more than anything. When they miss it, you can be like, please hit it.
How about they miss it again by 5 feet?
You will see more topwater bites here and at the Mississippi River on smallmouth than you will anywhere else.
What about the new Z-Man Hellraiser? That's got the new profile. Maybe you're Z-Man guys.
I haven't seen that.
It's basically a chatterbait pencil popper.
Yeah, with like a line tie under the bill, and it does this through the water.
It's just like I don't know. I'm trying to spice up the conversation.
Big
Anyways, let's go to Bucket C. We got sidetracked pretty hard.
Yeah, it happens here, Bart.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's been a while, but that's what we do.
Bucket C, can I just say mine? Because then you guys can make fun of me for a while.
Yeah.
Sure.
You already know who it's going to be, but it's smallmouth. It's up north, and I know he went there in the fall, and I know he knows how to catch them. Austin Felix.
You already know it was going to be Felix.
Yeah.
That's not who I picked, but that's who I thought you were going to pick.
And honestly, I think knocking on wood for my boy, but I would be surprised if he's not fishing day 4 out there.
Dang. I'm not saying he's having a bad season, but he probably could use it this year.
Yeah, no, he could use it. He's driven. He's been out there, and it's his style. It really is. Like, it's his deal. So
I got you. Well, for Deacon's pick, I do like the Felix pick, especially at 40%. I think people are pretty heavy on the Felix train for this one. A guy that is not his style, but a guy that Deacon has some confidence in, and a guy that's surprisingly shown to have some success in the north when Lake Fork is basically his bread and butter. Deacon is going with Mr. Lee Livesey, which I think is a very intriguing pick.
Probably because he saw I caught a giant walleye and he thinks he's on him in 74 foot of water.
Yeah, I don't think that would convince me to make that pick.
No.
I don't know why you'd pick Lee Livesey, and I wish Deacon was on this show to tell us why.
Topwater.
Yeah, but what were we just saying? For topwater, you're not going to catch him.
Big spook.
Yeah, but you're like, you don't catch him on the spook.
No, I said you catch him on a spook. You said Chapo, and I was like, no, not a whopper plopper.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you don't hook up with the fish when you're throwing a spook. At least
no, you hook up with them. You're just going to lose half of them.
And you're going to see your spook go 10 feet in the water. It's going to come in twisted 9 times.
Yeah, it's like you chuck it back and you're like, eat it this time, please.
And they miss it by 10 feet. And the next cast, they eat it. Smallmouth are dumb.
So I think this is where people are kind of getting misconstrued with OAHE.
Smallmouth.
When they hear smallmouth fishery, they think the same thing, right? When this is a completely different fishery in how it sets up for smallmouth.
We're talking long, slender bullets of smallmouth.
Think about this fishery as
Andy, they're short and fat.
Are they really?
Yeah, the last ones you seen there were post spawn, so it's just like it was a very not accurate representation of what that lake actually is.
All right.
I'm thinking
like what you saw Mark Daniels doing is what's gonna happen. It's just it was a start of it.
Yeah, he was catching him on a Ned rig, wasn't he?
He was scoping. That was like the first Panoptics, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think this is gonna be interesting. But leave it. See, I'd be very.
We can give Bass Pack my prize for that comment. I am up north at a tournament. I'm at an Airbnb. Otherwise, I'd be in my
out of the launcher. Bass Pack, I swear, has won every single fucking thing on the show.
Well, he's very good. I like this guy.
You know what that means? The more you comment, the more chances you have to win. And I know there's a lot of people viewing this right now. So the more you comment, the more you have a chance to win. So win some prizes.
Yeah, you heard that. All right, what is he going to win, Bart?
Hummingbird package.
Hummingbird package? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's see.
Did you guys do your picks? So Deacon picked Livesey. I did Felix.
You did Felix.
Coming. I'm finishing editing the rest of it. I've had a very busy summer, hence why I haven't been here.
Heard that. But yeah, like really quick to Andy's point, guys. Keep up with the comment stuff, because it's not like a lack of, comments, because like Bass Pack is here every single time, and we have loaded in the comment section, and thousands of people listen to this, so it's not like we're isolating the guy. I mean, he's here all night.
He gives good comments.
That's right.
He does.
That's right.
He's always there.
They're like spam them. Quip commenting, boys. Yes, Jordan, quip. That is the term of the night. So for my bucket C, I am going the same thought process that you are, Bart, but I am going with Mr. Josh Douglas.
That's a good pick too. I like it.
I don't have any other reason beyond that.
The only reason I picked Felix over Douglas is I knew Felix was out there. So I don't know if Josh went or not. I don't know. He could have been.
I feel like he's the kind of guy to go and not tell anybody.
Yes. And Felix told me, so maybe I'm blowing that, but he told me he went.
Fair enough.
Oh, Forrest. He's here to
Forrest
bully
is a
Bart
bad
and
bully.
tell him
He's
how
so
ugly.
nice to me. I love Forrest.
Oh,
so
God.
Good.
All right, Andy. Who's your pick?
Yeah, I was torn between Douglas and Felix, and it seems like every time, no offense to Douglas, I pick him, he hurts me. So I went with Felix.
Oof.
Yeah, it was tough.
Minnesota train, except for
Josh is great, but like Felix is just so good on these fisheries, man. And he's proven it over the years. He has a bad couple derbies, then he'll top 10 a few. It's what he does.
I don't say you're wrong, but I think now that you guys are all picking Douglas, I got to go different here.
No, we picked
Felix.
You had Douglas.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. If you all picking Felix, but granted,
Scotch is getting.
We should just all go Felix, and because Deacon's going Livesey, we're all giving ourselves a shot here.
We're all good there. I don't think Livesey is going to do good here, so I'm fine with that. If Deacon gets it, he earned winning this, but he left the door wide open there.
Watch, Livesey will freaking win the damn thing with the season
on a big spook. He's going to throw a saltwater spook, a 9-incher, and they're just going to eat it because they've never seen one that big before.
And it's like an 8-inch herring swim bait imitator, and he's gonna get on a weird herring bite.
Yeah, watch. This is the one that Chris Zaldain wins on his freaking 8-inch glide bait. Like this is
5 bites a day, and they're all 6 pounds.
Not gonna happen. This will be the one event of the year you see Zaldain pull up with like a 1.5-inch swim bait, and like you got to throw in this small so they eat it. And you're like, dude,
like
one end of the spectrum or the other. Let's meet in the middle. They're smelt eaters. Throw a swim bait. They'll eat it.
Like when he was at I forgot what that Oklahoma lake was, but he was throwing the Okashira head with the 3-inch spark shad. And we're like,
yeah, and that should get chewed here.
Yeah.
Like that should be one of the rods on every guy's boat, in my opinion. That Okashira head,
I could definitely see that.
It's a very good smallmouth head and a spark shad whales, except you can only cast it like 30 feet because it helicopters so much.
It's so bad. Especially that Okashira head.
Get it.
You throw it,
and then once out of like every 50 casts, it just goes pew right out there, and you're like, I did it.
So the best way I found to fit, now we're off topic, the best way is to go upwind and throw with the wind because that helicopter will carry it forever.
See, I'll throw it into the wind, but I basically figured out you got to lob it. So it's like you're skipping a dock, but like you roll it and you kind of just chuck it out there. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Because otherwise that thing goes nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
So good, but so
sorry.
dumb.
Anyways, we can get back to Bucket B. I can go on Bucket B if you guys want.
Sure. Yeah, so real quick to get out of the way, just because we don't have his explanation. Group B for Deacon is Jay Shakurit. He's going back to back.
So I'm going to go. I'm also going to go Jay Shakurit. And this was, I said it at the beginning of the year. This is Jay Shakurit's come out party. Turns out it was at the St. Lawrence, but this is really going to be his come out party because he's going to go back to back. And that's where people are going to be like, oh my God, this guy's like the best smallmouth angler in the world.
Well, he has that walleye smallmouth knowledge.
Dude, he's been there since he was like a month old. His dad's been fishing walleye derbies there for 25 years. Like before he qualified for the elites, like he's been there a ton. He knows where all the big smallmouth lives. He knows like things guys will never find. Like in terms of where his dad has caught them trolling spinner baits in 100 feet of water. Like he knows so much about that fishery. He might not have spent a ton of time there, but he knows a ton about it. It's right in his wheelhouse. And like he showed everyone last week, Jay Shakurit is one of the best smallmouth anglers in the world. And like, it's not even debatable. Like he is really, really good and you can't phase him. He doesn't care about big water. You got to go with him. And I seriously think he'll go back to back. Like I'm dead serious.
Damn. Well, I'm not sure.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So I was very torn on this one. I really wanted to go Seth Feider because he's been having a tough year and he's really good with smallmouth. But basically for the exact reason that Bart just said all that, I am also going Jay Shakurit.
Yeah.
And I will accept that this is the same pick throughout here. But I was very, very, very torn. And I don't think I changed his pick till like 2 minutes before the show from Feider to Shakurit. It was very hard to not go with Feider on this one. I just think a guy like Shakurit, like you mentioned, with the time, but not that Feider's bad with his electronics, but I think this is going to be a forward-facing sonar event. I think it's pretty dang. Shakurit's a no-brainer.
Oh, Ronnie, yeah.
Ronnie's in the house.
I didn't say of all time, but he's one of the best in the world right now, which he is. I mean, he finishes in the top of Sturgeon Bay. Jay wins almost every smallmouth derby in Wisconsin back home. He beat Schlapper. Like, he's one of the best. Kid catches him. Like, it's what he does.
I'm sure there's guys that we don't even know about, or like they're only known regionally or locally. That
Adam Nye, the guy he fishes team events with. Like, Adam might be better than Jay, but they're like, yeah.
Adam's been like dead close to making the elites, hasn't he?
I think a couple times, yeah.
Jeez. All right, Andy, round us out here.
That's an easy one. Shakurit.
Oh my God, we're all good.
But like, I will give it a little bit of debate. Ronnie Moore, I put his picks up here a second ago. I did have Perch, and I've probably switched it 7 times, but it seems like every time I choose Perch, he bombs. And if I want to choose him, he does great when I don't choose him.
The thing to remember about Clifford Perch here is last time they were here, he figured something out day 2 and then brought in if I remember right, Ron, tell me if I'm wrong, right? But I think he brought in day 2, 3, and 4 the biggest bags each day. He just couldn't quite overcome it to beat Daniels. Ronnie could tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember that. So Clifford Perch would be my other bet.
There's some interesting picks flying in here. We're seeing some Jason Christie's.
There's a lot of them, but I also don't think people understand how good Jay Shakirat actually is. And he weighed 101 pounds of smallmouth, and he's going to weigh a lot of them again this week.
I'm almost half tempted to change my pick to fighter just for the pure fact that we're all riding the Shakirat train, but I'm going to ride that Shakirat train.
I think Seth's pretty
it's hard not to.
With AOI last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to go beat himself up out in those waves. I think he's going to enjoy himself.
So Ronnie's chiming in here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was big. He had a lot of big bags. He had over 20 pounds a couple times, if I remember right.
And it's really hard to choose against perch in smallmouth events. It's just either he flourishes or he's like second to last for whatever reason. So, and he's got that Southwest Clearwater like finesse mojo to him. That's awesome. So, Ronnie.
Oh God, we got some good questions coming in here. Or the comments coming in here. All right, before we get into bucket A, for the folks in the comment section, because we still have Hobie Eyewear shades and a Queen Tackle gift card up for grabs. I want to hear, because we're obviously picking people for these different buckets, but who is your pick to win it all? Your one pick to win it all, and why? Start firing it off in the comments as we go through this bucket A, and we'll pick somebody to win some Hobie Eyewear shades. Andy, that's going to be your pick.
Oh, okay.
You want me to start going on bucket A, or you want to say Deacon's quick?
Yeah, so
if he
Deacon,
says my pick again, I'm going to be pissed because we have like 4 of the same picks right now.
Yeah, you're basically picking the same thing as him except for Livesey. Actually, you have except for Livesey. So he is going with the guy who is his closest tournament of the year, and probably the closest tournament to him probably since they came back in 2018. He's going with Mr. Brandon Polinick, the Angler of the Year leader.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I don't think it's the right pick, but it's.
I don't think at this point, especially with the year he's having, I think he's shown that there's no place in the country that is a bad place to pick Brandon Polinick.
Yeah,
and he's not afraid of winning
unless it's title or Florida.
But he did win on the James.
True.
Yeah. Veto.
Florida. It's just Florida.
Yeah,
it's
and
Florida
he's starting to figure out Florida too. Like
he top 20 the past 2 St. John Rivers.
Yeah. So starting to figure.
He's getting
out
there.
Florida.
He's getting there. That'll be his next win. Is
Florida. We're seeing it in the comments right now, but we should definitely get Ronnie on the last show just so him and I can debate 24/7.
Oh, great. And it'd be a Mississippi River debate. That would be a good one. Ronnie,
it would be a good one. Yeah. Tell him to come up to my house. He can do it at my place too. I've been telling him he needs to come up north for a Vikings game.
Yeah, we'll dual stream it. We'll dual stream it because I know Ronnie's got a good show as well. If you guys don't watch Ronnie's fantasy fishing show, highly recommend that with old Kyle Jesse, probably the coolest dude in all of bass fishing.
All right, so then my bucket A pick is not Brandon Polinick. My bucket A pick is if Jay Shakirat isn't going to win, this is who I think it's going to win, straight up based off of smelt fishing. I don't know if he's been here before, but it's smelt and lake herring. It's Gussie. That's what they do. And that's what I think the bait that's going to win is. It's going to be a big fluke. Like, that's how you're going to catch them. So I'm going with Gussie. It's right up his wheelhouse. And he's not even – I don't even think he'll probably cast in practice. He's probably just going to drive around Graph, and then on game day he's going to go drop on them.
And hope
there's no – everybody thinks dropping on fish is so easy with electronics and everything. And like Zaldane said at Knoxville last year, Zaldane found those fish, and he couldn't get one to bite, and he watched Gussie win the event. Like, this is Gussie's stuff. So I'm going with Gussie, not a doubt in my mind.
Well, by kind of the theme for the night, Bart, you've been just stealing my thunder. So I'm also going Mr. Jeff Gustafson. I think this is one dude he can win. Yeah, I think if it was my pick to win the whole thing, I'd say Gussie.
Yeah, him or Gussie. That would be. I agree with that big time.
Here's my question. So you mentioned a big fluke. Are you throwing that on spinning gear? Or are you throwing that on casting gear?
It'll be spinning for him. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how big of a fluke are we talking?
The only guys
like a 4
I know
or a 5?
who throw a big fluke on a bait caster are like fluking it, like actually
Shallow.
working a fluke.
Ripping it.
Yeah, shallow water fluke. But they're throwing it with a treble hook. Most guys throw it on a spinning rod. Some guys think they can throw it faster with a bait or further with a bait caster. I don't. For the most part, it'll be a spinning rod. But it's like I think fishing a fluke is power fishing with a spinning rod.
So are we talking like a 5-inch fluke? Are we talking like on a jig head, like a 3-aught hook? What are we talking here?
Could be either. I mean, he could like in the morning if it's calm, he could go on top of points and just like literally work it like a jerk bait.
Little inside
Ronnie
info.
dropping it. Thank you, Ronnie.
That's gonna be a sick day one to watch.
That'll be really good.
We
Fighter
got some
Felix,
AOI
Muskie,
drama.
EP.
Yeah.
Mullins Cox will be interesting too. It'll be interesting to see if Cox makes it out of the marina with the 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Like you're gonna see some water coming over the
Yeah.
bottom of that aluminum boat.
Might
That's
not
gonna
be
be
the best
scary.
pump for Crestliner. But
That's gonna be so loud, like for people around the
it's gonna
slap
be
that's gonna make.
that's a really good crew. But yeah, I think Gussie
Yeah.
will be throwing probably a weightless fluke. And he could throw a weightless fluke in 100 feet of water too. They're smelt eaters. Like they come up and eat it. Like they wait for that. Smelt don't go deep.
What's the water clarity?
I don't think it's very clear. That's kind of the crazy thing. I think it's like maybe 3 to 5.
Yeah, so
It's
big
like that brownish tannic.
Yeah, not tannic. It's just kind of meh.
like a mossy color.
Yeah.
Is it bad that like you
I
said?
think it's
meh,
more because
and
of wind. I think
Yeah.
the wind hits the shore and brings it in.
Gotcha.
And it's just like there's nothing else.
It's so silty. So Mr. Higgs is kind of doubling down with you guys here. So I think he's going to be the one because I've never seen him really comment much either. So I want to give the Hobie eyewear to somebody new. But I'm going to go with Mr. Higgs here because he's hitting the same points you guys are and definitely not afraid of big wind.
Yeah.
That Lund will eat that wind alive. So might be loud, but it's going to do well.
Yeah, no, that one, he'll be fine.
So Mr. Higgs, hit us up on social media or the email, and we will get those out to you.
Heck yeah. So I think it's funny that when you said meh, that like I think
Meh.
anyone else sees that hears that and they're like, "What are you talking about, dude?" Like that doesn't help me at all with like what kind of watercolor you're talking about. But I know exactly what you're saying.
Like if you're a smallmouth guy, you're like, oh, okay, 3 to 5 feet. You look at it and you're like, they can see it, really? Like,
Yeah.
It's not chocolate milk. It's not clear. You're like, man. It's like where you're looking for beds in 4 feet and you're like, God, this sucks.
It's like a translucent, like super
it's
translucent green.
It's kind of
pumpkin.
milky.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know how you
meh.
really explain it. It doesn't look great.
Yeah, so like to put it in perspective, Bailey, it's kind of like a Lake Alice when you're over like 20 foot of water.
Oh yeah, I know what he's talking
It's
about.
just
I've been out in
meh.
the Midwest.
Yeah.
I've been in the Midwest and seen the watercolor.
Meh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any like clay bottom, mucky bottom lake.
It's like the
meh color.
dirty. It's like that visibility where like white glows. If that
Yes.
makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it's actually, I think that watercolor, you're going to see a pink fluke or a chartreuse fluke.
So I was just gonna ask if you're gonna see like chartreuse.
I would probably throw pink personally, but I'm also not an Elite Series angler.
That is one thing that like I can't get the hurdle over is people that throw pink all year round. I haven't.
Oh, I do all the time. That's the first.
I haven't gotten the confidence. Really?
Yeah, fly out here. We'll go smallmouth fishing.
All right,
hop in with Hayden, me, probably Hayden over me. But
I actually might be flying out October. I've been talking with Tuma.
We won't catch him on a fluke then.
However, we could catch him.
Yeah, we'll catch him though.
All right, so yeah, we got. All right, that means we got Queen Tackle gift card left up for grabs. Is that everybody's bucket A? Andy, have you gone yet?
Someone said we got to give Queen Tackle to Ronnie Moore for chiming in.
I mean, hey, if Ronnie wants him some tungsten jigs, we'll give him some tungsten jigs. But I'm sure Ronnie doesn't have any problem getting himself some tackle.
More than likely. Andy, who's your pick?
Oh, I'm going BP just because he fished there before and he can catch them anywhere, anyhow. And they're smallmouth. He's used to meh water, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like if you
there
think
are
about it,
definitely
he's not far from the Columbia River, and that's a very meh water type of river if he's fished it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he has. And that's very meh when you get out of the mountains. So
Drink every time people say meh.
I think it's the best way to explain water clarity.
Yeah.
Is it good or is it bad? Because if it's bad, you're like, oh, dude, it's chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Or if it's clear, you're like, oh, it's super clear. You're like, what's the water clarity? You're like, meh. You're like, I get it.
it's like a clear lake that's starting to algae bloom, but it's still clear. It's just meh. It's funny. It's a great way. It's like this. It's like beer bottle brown, but clear.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
All right.
So there's a lot of notable picks in this Group A. I think that's one thing we should kind of roll through here is like
the one thing I would say is a lot of people are going to pick the Johnstons. This is not a fishery I'd pick the Johnstons.
How about Taku? Like Taku could be a good.
I would pick.
He's been there. He's been
a
there.
lot.
I mean, he's spent a lot of times.
He spent a lot of time there.
Like there was another good comment in here too. Hold on, let me see if I can find it about Stetson Blaylock being able to find fish in deep water. He's caught him good at St. Clair on a crankbait. Do you think this is something that could be good
catch him
for
on a crank here?
Not on a crankbait, but do you think this is a lake that he could catch him on?
No. Being honest, I don't think so. Maybe, but probably not. Like a really cool technique, if people do it, is literally like a lot of the guys out there in walleye derbies, they troll spinner baits through treetops and they catch like Lake Fork, right? So like OAHE has trees like Fork, and that's how people first figured out the smallmouth were big. They were dragging spinner baits through them. Keith Cavallez, Chase Parsons, Gary Parsons, those guys. And nobody's done it in a bass derby. So I think it'd be really cool if all of a sudden you see guys scoping, throwing a spinner bait down 20 feet on top of treetops.
Like a 1.5 ounce.
Yeah, like you're on a ledge, but you're in the middle of nowhere. Like it's a weird thing, but I'd be interested to see if that happens. You got to dedicate time to that. But
this comment, you guys ever thrown a sluggo?
No, I know what a sluggo is. I used to like cut the sides off of them slightly and fish them for walleye on a ball head like 10 years ago in Current, and you would catch some giant smallmouth doing
my buddy just started a new company for pouring baits that's making the sluggo that was discontinued. A lot of people have been buying them around here.
That is the bait that I learned how to like just fish in general. That's what I caught my first bass on. It's what I basically threw until it was like the age of 12.
Queen tackle, bringing up the sluggo, some bass fishing history.
That's what I'm saying. Daryl Wilson, you have won the Queen tackle giveaway. You're bringing up some memories of kind of like how I started fishing. So, dude, get in touch with us. We'll send you that $25 Queen tackle gift card. Get you some sweet tungsten jigs. But, dude, the sluggo was like that was like the times I remember, like from the earliest to the farthest back I could go was like when I was 6 years old. My dad would wake me up at 5 a.m., head to the lake, and all we would throw every day, regardless of the condition, no matter whatsoever, was blowing. It was a sluggo, and we'd always catch them. You know,
silver and black sluggo.
Yes, the black back.
Yeah, silver black back.
Sluggo. That's right. Well, Daryl, if you're still in this thing, reach out to us. Whether email or social, everything's down in the show description if you need any links or email addresses. But I think here's one too that's pretty good. Patrick Walters, and he's only at 1.4%, but with him being in forward-facing sonar, beat from the Carolinas. We talk about spotted bass fisheries. I think he could do well. I'm not saying he can win.
I don't trust him with smallmouth. I don't
trust him with smallies. They're too weird. Like and there's someone, I can't remember who it was in the comments. I just saw it. Levi Schneider said, I was hating on Stetson because he's a Southern boy and not from Minnesota. I do like my Minnesota guys. But with smallmouth, like you guys know, like smallmouth is a thing. Like if you get smallmouth, you get smallmouth. Stetson's done well on smallmouth where he can crank because he's really good at cranking. This is not a crankbait lake. Like people have asked about Carolina rigs, throwing a tube, stuff like that. They don't look down. Like whatever way smallmouth are looking, that's the way they're feeding. And that's how you get to them. Like, yeah, you can catch a few on a tube when they're looking up, but that's because a tube falls in a cylinder. Like
you'd have to crack it hard and get it.
Yeah, and you'd have to crack it really hard, or they'd have to eat it on the fall. I'm not hating on Stetson because I think he's a bad angler. I think Stetson's fantastic. If they're on St. Clair, I'm going to pick Stetson almost every time because he can catch them cranking. I could even pick him at the Mississippi River, depending on what pool what pool he's in, but just not here. It's not a crankbait lake. But
yeah,
what do we think the weights are going to be? I think this is the most intriguing.
Ronnie wants in for 5 minutes.
Here, Ron, just text
I'll
him.
send him a link.
You have his number, don't you? Just shoot him a link.
Guest appearance, Ronnie Moore.
All right, let's go to weights. I want to hear what you guys think about weights. Whatever Ronnie wants to talk about.
I am so torn on weights because if they have a wind day, I want to go like 60. But
when Ronnie gets in here, we'll ask him if he knows if they'll like extend it. But being back to back, I don't think
they're going 4 days. Oh, okay. Bass Pack wanted to know this. I guess I'll address this before Ronnie gets in.
Fair enough.
Why not Johnston's? I don't think this is like a Great Lake. And like they're good smallmouth anglers, like really, really, really good. But this is like you're fishing fish suspended over anywhere. Like they don't, it's a little different. Like the Johnstons are probably the best sight fishermen in the world. Like no doubt anything, whether they're on a bed, off a bed, swimming around, whatever it is, they're insane. But I just don't think this is their type of fishery, which I could be wrong. Like Corey or Chris could absolutely win because they're so good with smallmouth. But I would pick other smallmouth anglers over them based on this fishery and the water not being clear. Yeah. The water's not that clear. It's meh, like we said.
There we go. What's up, Ron Dog?
What's up, guys?
What's up,
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm trying not to be my dad looking at the wrong side of the camera and all that stuff on my phone.
I love it.
Hey,
let's hear it.
I joined in late. I joined in on part of the fantasy talk, but I don't know if you guys broke down the different situations for folks who are tuning in that Adam probably mentioned it, but Mobridge is, this place is like, what is it, 230 miles, and it goes from Pierre all the way to Bismarck, but only about 60 to 70 miles of that is North Dakota. So we're dealing with...
You guys need to understand, Pierre is South Dakota, Bismarck is North Dakota.
Yes. So that
long.
Goes, it's so far up there. And then Mobridge, I did the math today on Google Earth with our maps guy. We were trying to label stuff because it is, yes, it's the second time we've been here. Yes, there are 34 anglers in the field that are fishing that were here in 2018. But for one, it was full pool in 2018. It's 12 feet low this time because they haven't had the Montana ice melt every winter and spring. It's been a lot less and less, so it hasn't filled it up to the full capacity. And then also we're taking off at Mobridge compared to Pierre, which from there, that's over 100 and something miles difference because from Mobridge to the nearest marina that would have fuel once you get down the lake, there's one right beside takeoff, but that would be if you're like have a gallon left and you're about to be out of gas right before weigh in. But if you're going down lake, it's 100 miles away. So there's going to be guys who have a line of no return. Like if I go past this line, I've got to go 30 more miles past it to get fuel before I come back, and so that's a whole nother deal. The one way we'll break it down on Bass Live is Mobridge is about 35 miles from the North Dakota border, and they can't go into North Dakota because it's kind of like Minnesota and Wisconsin was, where they had the different culling rules. It's like a 3-fish limit, or you can't cull in North Dakota and South Dakota. So Lisa Talmadge and them, we just marked it off. And there's no marinas up north. So if you ran out of gas in North Dakota, you're just going to have to hope for that 20-mile-an-hour north wind to blow you back. But all the way back down the lake. So it's 35 miles. You can go north of takeoff 35 miles. And then the rest of the playing field's down there. It's about 45 miles to the 212 bridge, which we would consider probably halfway of the lake. That's really the farthest place north that anyone went in 2018. Was a couple of the winning guys were around that 212 bridge, but that was 45 minutes, 50 minutes north of takeoff. Now it's going to be 45 to 50 minutes south of takeoff. And so a lot of those common areas we saw may not play, and somebody doing an extreme going through a lot of waves and wind to get 80 miles south could end up having a lot of playing area to themselves down there if they get gas and can run around. But
Ronnie, we were going to ask you out of curiosity for what you know in terms of wind and everything. What does it take for you guys to have a wind day? And this is not concrete, whatever, but like, that's a real thing to be discussed right now at Bass, right? Because like it's going to be blowing 25 on OAHE. That's a problem.
Yeah, when it gusts, it's not great. And really, if you had an east or west wind, we'd be.
It doesn't matter.
We'd be money. But it's a north and south, and it's bad. And we've literally got a north wind day 1 and 2, and a south wind or I think there's like an east or west wind on Sunday. But like Troy Dede said, who's done very well at OAHE, he's set the smallmouth record there. And he caught the second biggest one, like in the same day he caught the biggest one. He was talking to me about it and was saying that one of those directions is way worse. I think it was north was way worse than south. So day one and day 2, I don't know what the wind level is going to have to be for it to cancel, but Troy said it changes by the hour up there. Looking at the forecast on Friday, it was a north wind and a south wind alternating days, and it was like 11 miles an hour. Now we're seeing a change in direction and speed, where Sunday is like east or west wind. So give it 2 more days and it could change. But I will say, if we lose day 1 or day 2, we'll lose it. If it's day 4 that's in question, if day 4 suddenly gets bad, that may be a push to Monday. We're not going to end the tournament, on a day 3 or something on Saturday, whoever the leader is win, which it then gets tricky because we gave an off day for the Mississippi. So we have kind of a 2-day thing working here. We end the tournament on Sunday. They have an off day on Monday. Then they practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we have.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
they start practice. Yeah, they start practice on
Tuesday.
Yeah, because the tournament's Friday to Monday.
Yeah. Friday to Monday. Yeah. So that's right. So if we cancel, or if we have bad weather on the final day, we will probably push that to Monday, which would then change the Mississippi River days. We'll either move all 4 days and it'll end on a Tuesday, or we'll have to adjust practice times because it's a back-to-back. But it's like if we went from Florida to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's not
that bad. You just drive through South Dakota doing 82.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true, but against the north wind, you're going to burn twice as much gas. No, I'm just kidding.
You might out there. You might.
So, but yeah, that just to put in perspective, because I've been thinking about history. I've been thinking about a lot of these things on how we're going to talk about it. But we're not only fishing a lake we've barely fished on with a third of our field having experience on, but the third of the field doesn't even have experience on the portion we're actually going to be fishing this week. And it's 12 feet low. So some of those places you're catching them in 10 to 15 feet. I mean, it's John Cox water now. Those rock piles in 15 feet of water, he can throw a crankbait, a fritz side around those or something. So
let's be real, it's a wacky Senko.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say,
smallmouth bait.
Yeah,
it is.
It really
it's
is.
so good.
And before I let you guys, before I get off of here and get out of the way, I think, and I've said this the whole time, I know Brandon's really good at smallmouth. So is David Mullins. Over the last few years, he's been really good at smallmouth, and he's really good at forward-facing sonar. I will say, if John Cox or David Mullins, and I'm not even going to say, if Brandon Lester gets a top 10, he's only 15 points behind those two guys. So if he can gain 20 or 30 points on Polinick, he'll be right there. If someone is within 40 points or 38 points, 37 points going into the Mississippi River, I think they really do still have a good shot at AOY, because we've been to the Mississippi River 4 times with Polinick on the roster. He had a shot to win one of them. He got DQ'd. It was his fault, but it was a bad deal. He's made the cut once, and then he's missed the cut twice. So he's not like a shoe-in. Just because we remember he almost won one of them, he's not a shoe-in to do superbly great there. You can also get stuck on sandbars, and you can also go catch 12 pounds a day and be 2 pounds from 30 spots. So if you can be within 30 points. The nice thing about the Mississippi
River, like you're saying, Ronnie, is it literally changes every year. So it doesn't matter how good you are there. because that little hole you found, guess what? It's filled with sand now.
Yeah, any time of year. We got to remember last time we were at OAHE, it was late June, and we fished the Mississippi River the week before that, so it was mid-June. This time we're fishing both these in August. So I'm going to treat it on day one at Bass Live as if we've never been there before. And I've got some key markers, key mileage things. Once we see on our private map of Bass Track where some of these guys go, we'll be able to really learn more about this place. But if they get to go, like you said. But
well, and Ronnie, it's a little teaser to Mississippi River too compared to when you guys were there. But when you're talking about it live and everything, smallmouth are going to play way more this time of year than they did.
It kind of reminds me of not
when
the
Fighter.
It makes me think of the Defoe win. Yeah.
Yeah, when Fighter caught 19 one day, like it's a very much a thing. When you get towards September, the smallies show up to play.
Yep. And I've heard the frog bite's been really good there. It hasn't been the best water level, but there's been flow enough.
There's been flow all year. It hasn't been dead.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun 2 events. It's definitely one that you can't coast through. And like I said in the comments earlier, if Brandon, where he's at right now, if he gets 2 top 15s or so, he will be at the same points mark that Fighter was for his spectacular season last year. And it's something we haven't really bragged about how good he's been. He's got to obviously do it. But if he gets a top 20 at OAHE, he'll be right there points wise for one of the best seasons ever.
That's wild.
For sure. So
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you, Ronnie. Before we let you go, dude, how's the Munchkin doing?
She's good. Let me see if I can show you on here. She is.
Oh, just sleeping.
I thought you were going to take a baby up in one arm.
Oh no, dude! We did the nursery work at church on Sunday for Marlowe's age group, which I guess is 0 to 5 months, 0 to 9 months, whatever. And I had like double babies in my arm in the rocking chair, and was pushing one in the face with my foot to rock it, whatever. But we were loaded up with babies, which is cool. Most of them are our friends in class, but she's doing great. Mama's doing great. And, we actually are very blessed because she is sleeping like 12 hours every night.
Wow. Lucky you.
So from 7:30 to 7 o'clock, she's asleep. And she's been rolling around. She's been doing all kinds of stuff. It's cool. What's funny is my mom kept every report card from when I was in school, and she also kept so many clothes. And so we've been even though I'm a boy and she's a girl, we've been wearing like some of the cute outfits that I used to wear when I was
incredible.
She wore something last week, 4.5, 5 months old. She wore something I wore home from the hospital. That's how big of a baby I was.
Holy crap.
So, I was a mountable one. I would be like right here.
You were a double digit.
Yes. So when people say Ronnie talks a lot, well, I mean, I had to do something. I was the chubby kid. I had to outwit for at least like a year. I was the chubby kid,
I love it.
That's great.
Well, thank you for the update, man. Thanks for hopping in and putting a lot of knowledge behind this. And,
appreciate y'all. We've been doing our best, and it's gonna be a great one. I don't want to take any of the knowledge that I just dished out as my own. Troy Dede is a former classic qualifier from the nation. Just I call this area, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, the upper Midwest. It's the Midwest, but I'm gonna call it the upper Midwest.
Yep.
So upper Midwest, it should be a good one. He said, 20 pounds a day is a possibility, but he really expects someone to catch 22, 23 pounds, and then maybe back it up with some 15s and 16s and stuff, and get around that mid 70s mark probably. So I look forward to it.
Heck yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Appreciate it, boss.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Have a good one, Ronnie.
See you, Ronnie. Well, that's it. We got some insider information from Mr. Bassmaster himself. And on the trail of weights, I was kind of going that same route. I have 74 pounds and 4 ounces kind of going on the trail. Somebody's going to have 18 a day.
Wow.
If they have 4 days.
This is where I'm very intrigued about because I have very different. But
are you at 20 a day, Bart?
I have 84.10.
Woo!
It's about 20-ish a day.
21
like
a day.
21 in there.
And if it wasn't going to be windy, I was going to do 97.
Say what? 97.
They got big.
Oh my god!
I just know what guys caught in pre-practice. I've heard rumors from last year this time, and
B-Rock's getting hungry.
yeah, actually, we need to go. So, yeah, we're cleaning this up right now.
All right, Bart.
That's hilarious.
All right,
I'm
Bart.
glad I
well,
got
in
to
the
tune
sake
in.
for
I got to go fish state tomorrow. I
Good
haven't
luck,
even
Bart.
made a cast. I'm fishing out of a Vexus, not my Camus. Everything's weird, but we're going to go try to catch. If I get 15 tomorrow, I'll be really happy, but I'm going to try to get about 18 to 21.
Good luck, dude.
Throw big
all right,
baits.
buddy. Good luck. Thank you for joining
see
us
you,
here,
boys.
and go have some dinner with B-Rock. Oh my gosh! What do you got for big bass? Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, get your weights.
Well, I have 78.13 because I always love to flirt high with ounces for whatever reason. It always seems to be like a low ounce that wins, but one of these days I will get it right on the money. But what I am thinking for big basses, knowing what's there, I think 97 pounds is very high, but I could see there being a lot of 5 to 5 3/4 pound fish weighed in. Like, I don't know, because it's not quite like there's a little thing on the Great Lakes. Every time, like Bart was talking about Mississippi River, around August, September, our smallmouth start getting fat again. And that's not because they're eating more, but it's because they're also starting to develop their eggs for the following spring. So I don't know how that translates to those upper Midwest fish, but I would assume that it's probably something similar because they're not like Florida fish, right? Their water's not warm. They can't just develop their eggs in a couple-week period. It takes them time to grow just due to water temps dropping. So that's why you start seeing really big fish in the fall, because they actually have their eggs in them on top of eating. So they're just growing. So that makes me question. I think you're going to see fish with big shoulders, but I don't, because they're chasing bait, I don't think you're going to get those big round ones. I think you're going to see round tall fish, but like more dart-like, slender, like our Finger Lake smallies on where they chase alewives, those type of fish.
After the MLF boys went to Cayuga, you can't really say that our smallmouth are dart-like anymore.
Goby eaters. That's the biggest difference. I think they finally transitioned to eating gobies in that lake about 4 years ago. And that's why you're seeing them blow
You're
up.
going to see a largemouth state record come out of that lake probably in the next 2-3 years.
Oh, yeah. Like, even like look at Oneida, right? Like the Bass Open that was there were so many fish weighed in over 5 because they're eating gobies. And even at those Oneida fish, you can tell that they're changing. Oneida fish used to be not short, but they were rounded, but they were long. Now they're becoming wide because they're becoming more bottom orientated and eating more little 30-gram protein snacks and gobies every time they take a bite. It does something to the genetics of the fish, and it makes them like a football as opposed to tall shoulders, powerful rudders. They get like short, stubby tails, big round bodies, and they just don't swim as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Deacon had 73 pounds and 8 ounces. And I think out of all of us, Deacon has had the most experience on that lake. But then again, he's an Elite Series pro.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Sorry, that was not what I was trying to say. He is not an Elite Series pro.
That's true. But he does know a lot of the people that live there. So he would have insight, I would think. So,
it was definitely a show we wanted to have Deacon on here tonight. That is for sure.
And there's a Instagram guy, I can't remember his name, but he's a guide at Lake Oahe that I follow, and he posted a video the other day of like catching a 5.5 pounder, and I think he said that was his PB on the lake. So it makes me question how many 5.5 to 6 pound fish are truly on there in that lake if this guy is fishing there all the time and he's up around that Mobridge area. So
yeah. I'm going to say big bass is going to be 6'2".
It could very well happen. It's smallmouth. I'm not saying you're wrong. So that would be a giant. Like that's a 20, 25-year-old fish at that point.
Well, I mean, there's a comment up here that said Brian Schmidt was on Dave Mercer's show with Felix, and he said Felix said that if all conditions were right, like St. Lawrence, it would take 100 pounds.
It's wild. So that's where Bart's getting his info from.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think is big bass on the dot?
589.
589. So is that 5?
It's like a 514.
Yeah. That number haunts me with smallmouth.
I know, that's why I chose it.
Jerk.
515, 515, 515. Yeah. I think you caught like 4 of them with me.
4 of them with you, but 9 total that I tied my freaking PB with until I finally broke it. The 610.
Yeah, which is a giant. So
it was a giant. Yeah. So folks, appreciate you guys all joining in. The prize winners, if you guys have not already, if you're still listening, if you're joining in, please send us an email or reach out over social media so we can get you guys your stuff, your prizes, get that sent out to you. If you have not already, check out some of the recent podcasts we've done with some amazing guests. We have Ben Milliken coming on for Friday's episode. We're talking some big swim baits in the summertime and kind of how you adjust throughout the year with big swim baits. As Bart led to, big swim baits even prove effective for smallmouth, especially in practice. I can say because I did that last Sunday, actually. Hopefully I'll have a video coming out on that soon. With that being said, I had a new Chasing Hardware episode drop on the Be The Fish YouTube channel last night. If you guys want to head over and check that out from the Susquehanna River. And he's been putting out a bunch of content here. Head over to Full of Fishing to check out his YouTube channel. We get that all down below with all the discount codes where you guys can save money on our amazing show partners. And we might be having some stuff here in the hopper coming up for this fall that we'll be giving back to you guys. But there's some really big stuff that is brewing behind the scenes with this platform. And the only reason it's happening is because it's all credit to you guys. So thank you for that. If you guys listen at all on the MP3 and you've not already, please leave us a rating and review because that helps us out big time, especially on the MP3 side. And then for folks on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about us. We want to keep spreading this knowledge. And we're not experts, but we know enough to get the juice out of the experts that we have on our show. So we appreciate all you guys. The show's always been awesome, and it's only going to go up from here.
I just want to throw a little side note in this, right? We are all here together because we have one thing in common for the most part, and that's we all want to learn more about bass fishing because we're learning endlessly. The day you stop learning about bass fishing, you might as well quit because you know it all and nobody knows it all. So
that's right. Hell to the yeah. Well, folks, we appreciate you guys. Looking forward to watching this event over on Hawaii. And again, for you guys that are still staying on here, Thursday at 11 in the morning, if they don't get canceled for wind, Omnia Fishing is doing a dual broadcast with Bassmaster where you can also order some baits while you're watching Bassmaster Live. I will be co-hosting as a guest host per se at 11 a.m. on Omnia Fishing. So make sure you guys go tune into that. Be cool to see you guys show up. We'll love to see some serious angler comments in that broadcast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys there. Without further ado, see you guys on Friday. Peace.